Hey guys, so today I am going to go ahead and show you how this vehicle drives in sport mode. This is the 2020 Hyundai Tucson SEL trim. I want to go ahead and show you guys how it behaves in sport mode, as some people wonder, like, why is sport mode even a thing on this? And I just wanted to show you that it actually can be kind of, a fun little sport mode if you decide to go that route. So sport mode in this vehicle will change the transmission mapping, and it will also change the throttle input a little bit to basically give you a better kick down as well as more aggressive transmission behavior. If I were good to be in regular mode right now, the transmission would shift up into 6th gear with the application of the throttle, which it will do right now. And so now it sort of slows down the vehicle, and the vehicle is not as responsive to driver input. But let's say, for example, someone is in a hurry or they need to go somewhere where they want to drive fast, and you can ultimately do this. If you change this into sport mode, its transmission behavior becomes a lot more responsive, and you also get better throttle response. So I'll go ahead and show you guys an acceleration without sport mode, and then I will show you guys an acceleration in sport mode. And I'm only going to do this probably about half throttle, just because at full throttle the car is not going to really distinguish the difference. Like, you're still going to carry your RPMs all the way to red line, and it won't accelerate any differently. So not in sport mode, we're going to notice that it shifts up a lot more quickly. It tries to get into those overdrive gears, or in this case the overdrive gear, as quickly as it can. So for example, right now it's in 5th because it's not going fast enough to shift up, and this person in front of me is driving very slowly. But it's just not as responsive. It's trying to save as much fuel as it can. The engine or the throttle input is not as aggressive. And overall, it's just going to be a great cruiser. But then, let's say, for example, you want to be a little bit spirited. Now it will go ahead and really take off. And with the same throttle input, you will notice that the RPMs climb a lot more easily, it's more rev happy, and the transmission shift points are a lot later. And it does not use that overdrive gear. And what that does is, by keeping it in those lower gears, it will go ahead and give you a better sort of off throttle to on throttle response. It's not going to need to downshift after you hit the gas. It's already in that lower gear. In some vehicles, sport mode will change the suspension behavior and make it firmer, as well as the steering. In older Hyundais, the steering would be changed when you applied sport mode. But in this case, the steering stays the same, and it adjusts the transmission shift points as well as the throttle input. Overall, it's not bad. I do like it. It's not for me, I still just use the regular mode most of the time. I don't really put it into sport mode, but it does make a difference if you want to have some spirited driving with this vehicle. It's not fast by any means, but it overall does a pretty decent job at getting up and moving out of its own way, especially for a little 4-cylinder. So we will see in a moment. I may have to get this car realigned because the steering wheel is pulling to the left. But as you can see, with similar throttle inputs as before, it just wants to go. And that's a pretty neat feature, I'm not gonna lie. I do like this, this transmission behavior a lot. It's a great gearbox, and it's definitely a good fit for this engine, but overall, I still like the 8-speed better. I did test drive a new Tucson, and the 8-speed blows it out of the water. But now, if I wanted to full throttle it, I could. And the transmission shifts are a lot more responsive in terms of downshifting. So, not bad. It's a very decent vehicle to play around in if you'd like, and, still be a good family vehicle for those smaller families. And the downshifts are a lot more aggressive. So for example, usually it would go down to idle and then shift down. As you can see, it's only going down to 1500 and shifting down. So definitely does that, so that way you can sort of pick up and go. Whoops. Not bad pickup. Now granted, of course, it wouldn't have done that in regular mode, but as you can see, aggressively downshifts and does a decent job. regular mode again. And now the throttle input has gone down significantly. So it's not bad. Definitely not bad by any means. Sport mode, if you want to get a little life out of this vehicle, it definitely does a decent job at giving you that sort of oomph. It's not like crazy noticeable by any means, like it's not going to blow you out of the water, but if you just want a little bit of spirited driving, I mean, the sport mode in this is not going to hurt it by any means, unless if you're just ragging on it constantly. But overall, I can't complain. I'm glad I have this feature. It does not have eco mode like the Elantras and Sonatas do, but it's not bad. It's not a bad, sport mode's not bad by any means. So with that, folks, that's kind of a little idea of how it drives in sport mode. I will actually attach a link where I show the shift points of this vehicle in sport mode as well as regular mode, so you guys will be able to see the difference as well. All right, guys, thanks so much for watching and have a good one.